All right, guys, let's welcome Dorothy to the Talk Toomey podcast here. Dorothy, how are we doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How's it going?
It's going well. As we record the new album, The Way comes out tomorrow on Roc Nation. So are you having like Christmas Eve jitters? You know, the album comes out tomorrow. You ready to hear everybody's feedback?
I'm so excited. Yes, I'm in New York City, as you can see, and
Beautiful.
it's been days of press, and I'm very excited. I'm just like it's like having a baby, I think.
I think it's like having a baby. I would assume it's very much like having a baby. Just kind of diving into it. I was watching, Tombstone Town and the visuals with this album. All the videos, like I love the visuals. Do you have a big hand in how everything's looking on this record?
Yes, I'm a very visual person. I'm so glad you asked that. And everything starts with a Pinterest mood board,
Right.
believe it or not. And I'm glad that you like the visuals and appreciate them because I'm very involved in that. And I have awesome creative people that can help pull it off, like Linda Strawberry, my creative director, Courtney, my photographer, tour manager. And then the Tombstone Town video was actually produced by my producer's wife, Flavia. So it's like kind of all in the family.
Right, right. That's a good name, Flavia. I like
Flavia.
that. Talk about working with Slash on Tombstone Town. I know you've worked with him a little bit in the past, so this is got to be fun for you.
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, he's super supportive. He's just the chillest, most humble, kind guy, and just happens to be a rock and roll legend. And I did the Key to the Highway on his blues record, and so I sent him a bunch of songs, and I said, "Will you please do a solo? Pick your song." And he said, "Yeah, I like Tombstone Town. Let's do it." And I'm like, "Cool, bring your hat to the video shoot."
And make sure you bring the hat. Yeah, if he doesn't bring the hat, I mean, he doesn't get in the door, right?
What door? Doors don't
Right.
exist.
The doors of your mind. So we might be doing a Joe Rogan style podcast.
We are going down the rabbit hole. Here we go.
I mean, just kind of listening to Tombstone Town, it's kind of got the twangy, got the Southern rock vibe to it too. And so when I knew that he was going to be on that track, it actually kind of made a lot of sense when I heard the track itself, and then obviously he crushes it on the solo.
Yeah, I feel like it's a cool mashup of kind of has a pop chorus. There's some hard rock in there, and then there's the outlaw country vibe to it. We also just did a country remix of it, which is not out yet. So my producer Scott Stevens played around with some slide guitars and made it really, outlaw country. But yeah.
Yeah, I dig it. I mean, honestly, with all of that kind of crossover stuff coming out right now, it might be a perfect time for it because obviously we all love Jelly Roll and Ernest and all those guys kind of putting out some good rock inspired country stuff.
And Hardy and Lainey Wilson.
Yeah.
Corey Marks is coming on tour with us. He's a rock country artist. But when we started writing this album, Scott Stevens and I were talking, and I said, I feel like a country thing's gonna happen. And it was before this wave hit, and then Beyonce put out Cowboy Carter and all that. So I grew up listening and trying to sing, trying to yodel and sing country music. So it's in there. And actually, it's not my first time really dipping into that sound. Gun in My Hand on Rock is Dead has a lot of slide guitar, and it has, I love Southern rock. I think those two genres are great. And then when they kind of mix and intermingle, it's super fun. And that's where I live. So it's in there.
Well, diving into that side, I mean, growing up did you grow up in like Budapest? I saw you were born there, but okay.
No, I have no accent. I came to America when I was 3. I was born in Budapest, and then I grew up in San Diego. So
well, even San Diego is a kind of a wild town for anybody kind of getting into country.
It's a big military town. It's beautiful. All of San Diego and Southern California is beautiful. I love it. I just love it. I'm coastal by the beach. It's awesome.
So you were, as a kid in San Diego, trying to yodel is what I'm getting at.
I know what. But then, because I was figuring out that I like to sing and I like to express myself that way. And so it was Leanne Rimes. It was Blue, that song nice. Blue. And then Blue Moon of Kentucky and Dixie Chicks and Faith Hill and Martina McBride. But I grew up on my parents' vinyl collection. So there was a lot of Bob Dylan and Bob Marley and Michael Jackson, and then a lot of oldies and a lot, Pink Floyd was like the first rock thing I ever heard. Okay. And when I heard that, The Great Gig in the Sky, her vocal where she's wailing, it really did something to me. So, and you can probably hear some of that in I Come Alive in the intro vocal. So I was like, oh yeah, this reminds me of a great gig in the sky, you know? So it's like your childhood just affects you for the rest of your life.
Kind of back to the look of the videos and everything like that. I couldn't pin it down. It's almost kind of like Rob Zombie slash, you know, you've got the you know, all the, you know, the cemetery stuff and everything else. It's a look that I don't know if I can necessarily pin down, but again, it looks like, yeah, Grindhouse, all that stuff. It's just like very cool.
Yeah. It started with the poster, Linda Strawberry. I was like, hey, because I was trying to think, what's the single artwork going to look like? I had great pictures of me and Slash. You know, I had pictures of us, and I was like, okay, we need a Grindhouse poster for some reason. I want this to feel like a film. And then the director, Rich Ragsdale, he did all the cool narrative stuff and made it like a Grindhouse movie. So I think that added a nice touch to it.
Do you like making videos? Is that fun for you?
It just depends on your team. I had a great team. Some video shoots are so long, but I liked getting to act a little bit. So we had actors in that one, and that's the only reason I did it, was to just get a little bit of acting in.
You brought up your producer in there. Kind of go through the writing process. You know, when you're the writing process for this album. You know, the tracks come. You have an idea for this. Hey, I want a song like that. How does everything work with you?
Well, I'm just so fortunate and lucky to have Scott Stevens. He's an incredible songwriter. He was the front man of the X's, and he's an incredible producer. So he makes you feel very safe in the studio. He lets me be a songwriter, and we just get to have fun and try stuff. It's super cool. And we wrote half the album in Nashville with the Four Horsemen and Kylie Sackley and Danny Myrick, Marty Fredrickson, and a bunch of other cool friends of ours. And then the other half was written, you know, in LA. Me and Scott will kind of sit down and write together. And then, but like Tombstone Town was written over a Zoom meeting with Curtis Peoples, and he just had the title. And I was like, well, Tombstone Town. And I had just, you know, it was based on a true story. I had just like gotten cheated on and went through a breakup with a person who I think could, you know, maybe learn a lesson or two. So I had to channel that into a song instead of therapy, because that's my therapy. And but then I realized, you know, it's all meant to be. It's meant to be that didn't work out, and I'm where I'm at now. And so I got to kind of channel it into a song, and it worked out great.
No, it's a great song, and I was kind of sad that the guy gets up at the end of the video. I was like, you put him down for
yeah. I know, but that was my call. I was like, I can't kill him. I don't want to be the bad guy, you know.
You got to kill him. Maybe he's coming back. Maybe he's just coming back as a zombie for like the next album cycle. How about that? I did want to kind of get into some other stuff too with you know, working with Scott Stapp. How was that for you? You know, doing his, you know, solo stuff and working with Scott.
Oh, I love him. He's wonderful. I did If These Walls Could Talk. And then he got honored at the Grand Ole Opry. And so he asked me to sing it with him. And it was just such a special moment to watch him be so honored I mean, that man has worked so incredibly hard and is just such a genuinely amazing, good human being. And to see him on such a special night get honored by the Opry it was bucket list, you know, and I was very nervous, but I was like, it's not about me. I'm just here to, you know, just here to support. So it was awesome. I would if I could do a whole album with him, I would.
So I grew up in Nashville, so the Opry is a very, you know, sentimental place for me too. So you like, what was it like for you to kind of walk out on that stage and know that that's like, you know, the stage is the original stage from the Ryman and all that stuff. So the history of the people that have stood on those boards. I was just honored to be there. It was such an awesome experience. The Opry band is next level. And Marty Fredrickson was with us, you know, strumming guitar. So I felt good. I'm like, okay, he's got my back, and all I have to do is sing my parts and not mess up. So nice. They invite you back yet? And that's the big part.
Yes. Well, hopefully they will. There
you go. Another big one is Nita Strauss. And the one thing I was actually watching before we jumped on here was, you know, you playing with her at SoFi Stadium. Me being a giant football fan, I mean, that's got to be awesome to just kind of look out on a stadium full of people like that.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. I did the national anthem, and it was great because I had an open stadium and everyone was cheering. It was great. They were very, very supportive because it's not easy to sing, the anthem,
Right.
but it's a huge honor. I love this country. I came here and I freaking love America. So I did that and it was great. I got all the beautiful reverb from the stands and it was open. And then I went up and rocked Victorious with Nita and Josh. It was great. It was an awesome day.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun. Back to the record, the way you've talked about this kind of being a love letter to the fans. How do you perceive that being a love letter to the fans, I guess?
The way it is the title track, it's the ballad at the end of the album. And it's just kind of like it almost feels like a lullaby ballad. And it's just a message of unity and reaching out your hand when you need help. And, you never know what someone's going through. And so it's just kind of I feel like it's a comforting, reassuring message of love. And it was a really great way to close the album.
Absolutely. I was watching some videos. I guess you found your scream on this record. Talk to me about finding your scream.
It's so funny. I was like, man, I really want to do something new with my voice. Like, what can I do and challenge myself? And then I just broke into it accidentally after hours of singing. And I found that, I started like playing around on the mic and I was like, Scott, I hope you got that. I hope you're recording. Like, let's keep going. And then I did it again on Tombstone Town. I've never done it before, but it was super fun to learn and figure it out. You learn something new every day. You can surprise yourself with your own voice.
So next album, just all guttural screams.
All good. Yeah. Mongolian throat singing.
There we go. What's the next few months look like? I know you got a tour coming up, all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, we start at the El Rey in Los Angeles. Slash is going to do a few songs with us. That's on March 21st. And then we kick off the Redemption tour April 16th in Nashville. So I don't know if you're still in Nashville, but I'd love to have you. If you're not, no, all right. Well, but yeah, we start April 16th in Nashville at the Brooklyn Bowl, and Corey Marks is joining us on the road. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be fun.
I feel like your name over the last few years just kind of keeps like building and building. This is like it's like you're almost like the 10-year overnight sensation or something. It's like every time it's just like something bigger, something better. And obviously with as soon as I hit play on Tombstone Town, I was like, I'm in. Like this is awesome.
Nice. 10 seems to be the magic number. I mean, I'm hearing other artists' testimonies. Lainey Wilson, I love her. Chapel Roan. It's like 10 years you grind, and then something's bound to break. I mean, we're not doing this to fail. I don't have a backup plan, so I'm going to be around for a while.
Gonna pull out the yodeling, I think that was the backup plan.
That's gonna be the next album. It'll be just yodel. It'll be like Oak Ridge Boys and with some yodeling, and
Funny story. So growing up in Nashville, the everybody's dad is in a band or whatever.
Right.
Like I went to high school and like, oh yeah, my dad is in wasn't the Oak Ridge Boys, it was Alabama or something like that. So career day pops around and one of the Oak Ridge Boys comes to my high school for career day.
Oh, cool.
And I get him like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna sign up for the musician. First thing out of the gate, he's like, he starts telling road stories to like high school kids. And I'm like, I'd read metal magazines and stuff like that. So I just kind of knew what was going on. And then I remember the teacher kind of going up to him afterwards and is like, no, you can't really talk to the kids like this. You gotta tell them about how to break it into the music business. He told us a story about seeing Alice Cooper in Detroit in the 70s. I mean, it was wild, but
Alice Cooper's great. I mean, Nita's his guitar player, I have yet to go to a live Alice Cooper show. So that's a bucket list for me. And I have some road stories myself, if you want to hear one.
Let's go. Give me one. Give me one good one.
Oh my God. Okay. So we were in Portland, Oregon. And sometimes after a show, like, the venue shuts down and it's a ghost town and people just go home. And that was the case here. And we had our bus, and then, bus calls usually late. Like it could be anywhere from midnight to 4 a.m. And it was pretty late. So there were no food options. And I think my drummer's like, let's go to McDonald's. So we took an Uber to McDonald's, and it took forever. And we come back and it's dropping us off. And my merch guy is across the street. He's like, hey, get on the bus. There's a guy with a machete. And sure enough, Portland, Oregon, you guys take the cake for weirdos. Like this guy comes around the corner with a machete and a knife. And he's like, it's like the Purge. He's just like, she's dragging the machete across the windows. And we're like, oh, what? And we ran on the bus, and I think someone called the police, and they're like, yeah, there's a guy with a machete. You might want to check it out. So
they were probably like, oh, that's Mark. You know, say hi to him.
Yeah. They were like, we know him. It's fine. He pays rent. There was a guy, like a kid that was scared and was talking to our bus driver and was like, can I hide behind your bus till he goes away?
That's funny. So I'll give you one of mine. I toured in the early 2000s with a decent sized band, but we played a venue, and it was the last night the venue was ever going to be open. And they were like, all right, you guys have to drink all this alcohol behind the bar.
Oh no.
And I was just like, oh, this challenge.
Oh no.
It was bad. It was gross. I get, obviously, the not something I do these days, but as a young 20 something, it was a fun time.
Yeah. Oh no.
That sounds terrible.
Hangovers.
Well, yeah, looking at it now, what we were mixing together just makes me want to throw up thinking about it. So,
yeah, I'll go to jail. I don't drink anymore. Yeah.
No, definitely a very smart thing for you there. Talk about getting on Roc Nation real quick. That's like old school Roc Nation, right? Like that's
Roc Nation. I'm here in the building in New York City.
Nice.
It was just, I don't know. I feel like it just kind of was meant to be and unfolded, and it was great. Like I had a fork in the road experience, and my stepdad had passed away from lung cancer, and I just had, left Los Angeles, didn't know what the hell to do with my life. I had to go home and figure things out. And this piece of paper fell out of my Musicians Institute binder, and it was a list of music industry contacts. And I looked at it, and I'm like, I have nothing to lose. I'm gonna try to make some music. And I literally texted like 3 A&Rs on that list. And I'm like, hey, I'm a singer and I want to do music. Like, I don't know what to do. And the only person that responded was George Robertson, who was my first manager, who knew someone at Roc Nation and got me a meeting with Jay Brown. And he had some producer friends that I had been writing with. And he's like, I think I can do something here. So we wrote some of Rock is Dead and After Midnight and those types of songs. And then Jay Brown signed me to Roc Nation, and here I am. I've been with them for a decade.
That's awesome. It does show, you don't have anything to lose. Send that email, send that text, send that DM.
Listen, don't let fear stop you. The worst thing they can say is no, or you suck, and then just make yourself better and try again. I don't know, but it's awesome. I have an all-female team here, which is crazy. And they're all wonderful, women of faith, and just like, it's totally, my whole life looks different now than it did 10 years ago.
Which is for the best, right?
Yes.
Fun. Just gotta love sending those phone calls. Well, I guess I will let you jump off here. I know you've had a long day of press. This was a fun conversation. And make sure everybody out there listening to check out Dorothy the Way, out now, Roc Nation Records. Dorothy, pleasure.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you so much. You too.